Daniel Brooks stood in the center of the great chamber, surrounded by beings from across the galaxy. The room was vast, shaped like a circle, with tall walls made of smooth silver metal that reflected soft blue light. Strange symbols moved slowly across the walls, showing languages from many worlds. The air felt heavy, filled with quiet tension. Daniel kept his posture straight. His hands rested behind his back. His face was calm, but his eyes were alert. He watched everything, every movement, every glance. He knew this meeting was not friendly. Humanity was new to the galaxy. Only a few years had passed since Earth was discovered. Many species called Earth a death world. It was a place of storms, strong gravity, dangerous animals, and endless conflict. Because of this, most aliens believed humans were either too wild to trust or too weak to matter. Daniel had heard all of it before. Around him, the alien leaders spoke in low voices. Some had tall, thin bodies with long arms. Others were short and wide, with thick skin like stone. Some had glowing eyes, and some had no eyes at all. At the far side of the chamber stood the one who mattered most, Commander Zalcor. He was large, taller than any human. His skin was dark and rough, almost like armor. Sharp ridges ran along his shoulders, and his eyes burned with a faint red glow. He was known across the galaxy as a powerful war leader. Many feared him, and today he was watching Daniel. Zalcor stepped forward slowly. Each step echoed across the chamber floor. The other delegates grew quiet. They knew something was coming. So this is a human, Zalcor said, his voice deep and rough. Small, soft, calm. I expected more. Some of the aliens gave low sounds that might have been laughter. Daniel did not react. You stand here, Zalcor continued, in front of true power, and yet you show no fear. Is it courage or is it foolishness? Daniel finally spoke. His voice was steady and clear. We came here for peace. A few aliens shifted in place. Some looked surprised. Zalcor tilted his head slightly. Peace, he repeated, from a death world species. That is hard to believe. Daniel said nothing. Inside, he remained focused. He had trained for this. He knew how to stay calm under pressure. Every word mattered. Every second mattered. Your kind fights among itself, Zalcor said. Your history is filled with war. You destroy your own world, and now you come here to speak of peace. Daniel met his gaze. We learn from our past, he said. The chamber grew even quieter. For a moment, it seemed like the tension might ease. Then Zalcor smiled. It was not a friendly smile. I do not believe you, he said. Before anyone could react, he moved. His arm shot forward with sudden speed. The strike was fast and hard. His hand hit Daniel across the face with sharp sound that echoed through the chamber. Everything froze. No one spoke. No one moved. Daniel's head turned slightly from the force. A red mark appeared on his cheek. Many of the alien delegates leaned forward. Some expected him to fall. Others expected him to react with anger. But Daniel did neither. Slowly, he turned his head back. He looked straight at Zalcor. His face showed no anger, only calm. That calm made several aliens uneasy. Zalcor frowned. No reaction, he said. Is that all humanity is? Weak and silent. Daniel raised one hand. He touched the small device near his ear. His voice was quiet, almost too quiet to hear. Signal sent, he said. No one understood the words except him, but far away, someone did. A woman named Ava Carter stood inside a human command ship hidden in deep space. Her eyes focused on a glowing screen. She had been waiting. When Daniel's signal arrived, everything changed. Confirmed, she said softly. Her crew looked at her. Begin protocol, she ordered. Back in the chamber, nothing seemed different. Zalcor crossed his arms. You think silence will save you? He asked. Daniel lowered his hand. No, he said. He took a slow breath. Then he spoke again. 5 seconds. Some aliens looked confused. Others felt a strange sense of fear. Zalcor laughed. 5 seconds for what? Daniel did not answer. He simply stood there, calm, still, waiting. The chamber felt colder now. A low hum, almost too soft to notice, passed through the ship. Some of the alien systems flickered for a moment. Zalcor stopped laughing. "What did you do?" he demanded. Daniel said nothing. 1 second passed. Then another. Across the void of space, silent shapes moved into position. Human ships, hidden until now, surrounded the flagship from a distance, their weapons locked onto key systems. Inside the chamber, a few alien leaders began to step back. Something was wrong. Very wrong. 3 seconds passed. Ava Carter watched her screen. "All units ready," one of her officers said. She nodded. "Hold until mark," she replied. For seconds passed. Zalcor's expression changed. For the first time, there was doubt in his eyes. "You dare threaten me," he growled. Daniel looked at him. "No," he said quietly. "We respond." 5 seconds passed, and the galaxy changed forever. The moment the 5th second passed, the flagship trembled. It began as a low vibration underfloor. Then it grew stronger. Lights flickered across the chamber walls. The soft blue glow turned sharp and unstable. Several alien delegates stepped back in fear. "What is happening?" one of them shouted. Zalcor turned quickly. His eyes moved across the chamber, then toward the high ceiling, as if he could see through the ship itself. Daniel Brooks did not move. He stood in the same place, calm and still, inside the human command ship. Ava Carter watched the operation begin. Her screen showed the enemy flagship in clear detail. Red marks appeared over key systems, engines, weapons, command nodes. "Execute precision strike," she said. Outside, human ships fired. There was no loud explosion in space, only silent beams and fast projectiles moving at extreme speed. Back inside the flagship, the effect was immediate. A deep impact shook the entire structure. Panels broke. Sparks flew from the walls. Systems began to fail one after another. The chamber lights went dark for a moment before emergency lights turned on, casting a red glow over everything. Panic spread. Alien leaders shouted. Some tried to contact their fleets. Others rushed toward exits that no longer worked. "This is an attack," someone cried. Zalcor roared in anger. "Who dares?" His words stopped. Something moved too fast to see. A sharp sound cut through the chaos. For a brief moment, no one understood what had happened. Then Zalcor's body stood still, and his head was no longer there. It fell to the floor with a dull sound. The chamber froze again, but this time it was not silence. It was shock, pure shock. Daniel looked at the fallen commander. His expression did not change. Around him, the strongest leaders in the galaxy stared in disbelief. "Impossible," one whispered. Another stepped back, shaking. No weapon detected. They could not understand it. They had not seen the strike. They had not heard it coming. But it had happened, and it had been perfect. Daniel finally moved. He took one step back from the center of the chamber. His voice was calm. "The response is complete," he said. At that same moment, a clear signal spread across all channels. Ava Carter's voice filled the ship. "This vessel is now under human control. Do not resist. Further aggression will be met with immediate action." Her tone was firm and controlled. Outside, human ships held their positions. Weapons remained locked. Inside, alien security forces tried to respond, but their systems were disabled. Doors would not open. Weapons would not activate. Everything had been planned. Every move had been precise. Daniel looked around the chamber. "We came here for peace," he said again. No one laughed this time. No one mocked him. One of the alien leaders slowly raised his hands. We surrender," he said. Others followed. The power in the room had shifted completely. Daniel turned slightly. His eyes focused on nothing in particular, as if listening to a distant voice. "Status," he said quietly. Ava replied at once. "Primary systems disabled. Command structure neutralized. No further threats detected." Daniel nodded. "Hold position," he said. He looked once more at Zalcor's body. There was no anger in his eyes, only certainty. The message had been delivered. Clear, fast, final. And every being in that chamber understood it. Humanity did not forget. Humanity did not forgive violence. and humanity responded without hesitation. The red emergency lights continued to flash across the chamber, painting everything in harsh color. The air smelled of heat and metal. Broken panels hung from the walls, and sparks still flickered in quiet bursts. No one spoke for several seconds. The alien leader stood frozen, staring at what remained of Zalcor. His body lay still on the polished floor. The fear in the room was heavy and real. Daniel Brooks took another slow step back. He gave the others space, but he did not leave. He watched. He listened. He waited. A tall alien with pale skin and long arms finally moved forward. His voice trembled slightly. This was planned, he said. Daniel nodded once. Yes, he replied. Another leader, smaller and covered in thick scales, shook his head. No fleet could move this close without detection, he said. It is not possible. Daniel met his gaze. It is possible, he said. You just did not see it. That answer made the room even more uneasy. Across the ship, systems continued to fail in controlled ways. Human forces had not destroyed everything. They had only taken what they needed. Control. Ava Carter stood at her station, watching every detail. Her crew worked quickly, making sure no hidden threat remained. Sector 3 secure. One officer reported. Energy grid stable under our control. Another said. Ava nodded. Maintain pressure, she ordered. No mistakes. Back in the chamber, one of the alien leaders slowly stepped toward Daniel. Her name was Lyra Voss. She was known for her intelligence and careful thinking. Unlike the others, she did not panic. She studied Daniel closely. You knew he would attack you, she said. Daniel did not deny it. We prepare for all outcomes, he answered. Lyra looked at the fallen commander. And this was your response, she asked. No, Daniel said. This was the result of his choice. The words were simple, but they carried weight. Several aliens looked at each other. They began to understand. This had not been random. This had not been anger. This had been planned long before the meeting even began. Lyra nodded slowly. You wanted to send a message, she said. Daniel remained calm. Yes, he replied. At that moment, Ava's voice returned over the communication channel. External fleets are holding position, she said. No reinforcements detected. The system is stable. Daniel responded quietly. Understood. Continue monitoring. He then looked back at the chamber. No further harm will come to anyone here, he said, as long as there is no resistance. The relief was immediate, but so was the fear. One of the alien leaders lowered himself to the ground in a sign of surrender. Others followed. The strongest beings in the galaxy were now silent and still, all because of 5 seconds. Lyra Voss took a step back. What happens now? She asked. Daniel paused for a moment. He thought carefully before answering. Now, he said, we talk. The word felt different now. Not weak, not hopeful, but controlled, earned. Outside the ship, human vessels formed a silent ring. They did not move. They did not fire again. They simply waited. Inside, the chamber slowly began to calm. The fear did not go away, but it changed. It became something else. Respect. And for the first time since humanity entered the galaxy, every species understood one thing clearly. Humans were not just survivors of a death world. They were something far more dangerous. They were patient. They were precise. And when pushed, they were unstoppable. The chamber was no longer a place of pride or power. It had become a place of silence and thought. The alien leaders slowly returned to their positions. No one spoke loudly now. No one made sudden moves. Daniel Brooks stood at the center, calm as before. But now, every eye in the room looked at him differently. They did not see weakness anymore. They saw control. Lyra Voss stepped forward again. You said you came for peace, she said. Daniel nodded. We did, he replied. Then why bring this level of force? She asked. Daniel looked around the chamber before answering. Because peace without strength is ignored, he said. The words settled heavily in the room. Several leaders lowered their heads. They understood. They had ignored humanity before. Now they could not. Far from the flagship, signals spread across the galaxy. Recordings of the event began to appear on secure networks. Then they spread further. The slap, the silence, the 5 seconds, the strike. Every detail was seen. Every moment was analyzed. Entire systems reacted with shock. Some worlds feared what would come next. Others saw an opportunity. Back in the chamber, Daniel opened a channel. A new voice joined the room. Lucas Grant. He was a political leader on Earth, chosen for his calm mind and clear words. His image appeared in the center of the chamber. Representatives of the galaxy, he said. His voice was steady. Today was not an act of war. It was a response to violence. No one interrupted him. Humanity does not seek conflict, he continued, but we will not accept it either. Lyra Voss watched closely. What do you want? She asked. Lucas answered without delay. Respect, he said. Nothing more, nothing less. The simplicity of the answer surprised many. You have shown your power, another leader said. What stops you from taking control of everything? Lucas gave a small shake of his head. Because that is not who we are, he said. There was a pause. Then Daniel spoke again. We remember where we came from, he said. We know what happens when power is abused. The room remained quiet. Slowly, the fear began to change again. It became something deeper. Understanding. Ava Carter continued to monitor the situation. Her fleet remained ready, but no new threats appeared. All systems stable, she reported. Daniel acknowledged her. Stand down to observation level, he said. Outside, human ships powered down their weapons slightly. They did not leave, but they showed restraint. Inside the chamber, one by one, alien leaders began to speak. Not with anger, not with pride, but with care. The conversation had changed. For the first time, humanity was not being judged. It was being heard. And far beyond the walls of that damaged flagship, the galaxy began to shift. Old powers questioned themselves. New alliances formed quietly, and one truth spread everywhere. Humanity had arrived, not as victims, not as monsters, but as something balanced between the two. Strong, calm, and impossible to ignore. Time passed, but the memory of that moment did not fade. Across the galaxy, the story spread from system to system. It was told in many languages, in many ways, but the core never changed. A human stood alone. He was struck. He did not react with anger. He waited, and 5 seconds later, everything changed. On Earth, people watched the recordings in silence. Some felt pride. Others felt concern. They understood what it meant. Humanity had taken its place on the galactic stage, and there was no turning back. Daniel Brooks returned home after the mission. He did not receive celebration or fame. That was not his role. He was a quiet part of something much larger. He stood on a balcony, looking at the sky. The stars seemed different now. Closer, more real. Ava Carter visited him soon after. You did well, she said. Daniel gave a small nod. We all did, he replied. She looked at him for a moment. Do you think they understand? She asked. Daniel thought about it. Some do, he said. The rest will learn. Far away, in the halls of alien governments, new plans were being made. Some leaders chose peace. They reached out to humanity with respect. Others chose caution. They watched carefully, unsure what would come next. A few prepared for war. But even they moved slowly now. No one wanted to repeat Zalkor's mistake. Lucas Grant continued his work, building agreements between worlds. His message remained simple and clear. Respect brings peace. Violence brings consequences. The balance of power had changed, but it had not broken. Humanity did not conquer. It did not demand control. It set boundaries. Clear, firm, unbreakable. Years later, the story of the 5 seconds was still told. Not as a warning alone, but as a lesson. Strength was not loud. It did not need a shout or strike first. It waited. It watched. And when the moment came, it acted without hesitation. Daniel continued his work in silence. He trained others, prepared them for future meetings, future risks, and future choices, because he knew something important. That moment was not the end. It was the beginning. The galaxy was still changing, and humanity would be part of that change, not as rulers, not as victims, but as something new, something shaped by a harsh world, a death world where survival meant learning fast, where mistakes had real cost, and where strength was built over time. Daniel looked at the stars once more. He did not smile, but there was peace in his eyes. The message had been sent, the line had been drawn, and humanity would never bow again.